So I wanted to share with everyone some advice and perspective that I give my self-defense classes at IU. And I think that just about anybody who's taken some type of self-defense course or started martial arts could also benefit from this perspective. Now, so as I said, we just started our spring semesters with my classes there. We just did a round of fast classes here in stress shooting and adult basics. I'm doing a kids class for a Girl Scout troop. I just recently took some training with some people that I enjoy doing courses with in terms of my own gunfighting and self-defense training. And so now's a good time to kind of go over the point that this is something that does require continuing education. It is not a check the box type of activity. So the way I describe it in to my self-defense students, my collegiate courses, is that let's say when you came in there, you had a 32% chance of defending yourself. Now maybe after the course, you have a 57% chance. Now those are still not great odds, but that's a lot better than where you came in at. And my numbers are completely arbitrary. Do not, come at me as far as my numbers and that they're too low or high or whatever else, right? But for the point of illustration, okay, again, that number is not going to be 100%. It never is. Right? I could get shot by a 12-year-old walking out to my car later today. So this process is not about invincibility, okay? But the question is, once you do that course, that 57, gotten to 57%, so to speak, now what? Okay. Now, a lot of people just think that, again, this is an activity that you check the box and you move on to the next thing, like renewing your driver's license or your insurance or going to the doctor for a checkup. At least with a checkup, that implies you do it somewhat semi-regularly, and oftentimes we don't even get that, right? So the analogy I like is if this was beginning basketball and none of us had ever dribbled before, I don't think we would have ambitions of walking onto the team after just this one semester. Okay? But somehow in my field, in self-defense, everybody goes, oh, I'm going to take a semester of self-defense and then I'm done. I have checked the box. I am good to go. And it just doesn't work that way. Now, what you do with that 57% is up to you, right? So, and if you decided that you're good with, as I said, that 57, I'm done, I'm not going to do any more, that's fine. But understand that you are where you are on that continuum. And let me also say, congrats on getting that far. So there's a lot of other people that, you signed up for the class, you started taking martial arts. There's a lot of other people that didn't get that far. So there's an adage in the martial arts that a white belt is still higher ranked than the person on the couch. Or the way, whether well-known self-defense instructor Tony Blauer put it, or relates a story. He was on a plane and someone asked him what he did. Oh, I teach self-defense. And she's like, oh, I always wanted to take self-defense classes. And he replied, no, you didn't, or no, you don't. And she was kind of taken aback. And he's like, I think what you meant to say was, I hope I'm never in a situation where that I would have needed to have taken self-defense. Because there was probably ample time in her life and in most people's lives to have taken it if they really wanted to do it. Okay? But the point is, you have gotten farther than most, right? You've taken that basics class, a self-defense course of some type. Maybe it's a handgun course. If that's part of your personal protection strategy, hopefully it's defensive shooting, but even just an NRA familiarization course. Again, that's better than a lot. So that's great. But the question is, what do you do with that number? And I was on a podcast with Randy King, and he was talking about the check the box analogy, and I shared my basketball analogy with him. But it's true that a lot of people just look at it as something that I do once and I am done. If nothing else, treat it like that checkup and at least come back and do it somewhat semi-regularly to refresh. But even if you don't, at least understand where you are in that continuum and make that decision from a perspective of education or from a more informed position versus thinking that you are good because you checked some magical box.